college, but basically before college, I was a gymnast for 12 years, believe it or not, the sport I do now. A lot of people are surprised by that, but gymnastics is like what started athletics for me. So I was a gymnast for 12 years, and then I stopped doing gymnastics right before high school. My body just couldn't take it anymore, and I'm obviously 6 feet tall, so you don't see very many tall gymnasts. And I knew I wanted to be a college athlete. So, and I knew gymnastics probably wasn't going to take me there, so I wanted to try out some sports that my height was going to work in my advantage. So I went to high school. I played basketball. I swam. I was like, I want to do something in track and field. I didn't really know what. I started thinking like pole vault and running, but that was not the right thing at all. But I started falling in love with like lifting weights. So I think when I fell in love with lifting weights was kind of what made me go into throwing. I had a coach come up to me. He was like, you should just try throwing. And I was like, throwing? Like, what even is that? Like, I had no idea what it was. In high school, it's kind of disrespected. Like, a lot of people just kind of see it as like the sport that people just go to just say they play a sport. But so I kind of just like gave it a chance, but I was very skeptical. But like the first week of practice, I went home and like started Googling like Olympic throwers. Like I just wanted to see who the professional girls were, like who's the best of the best, what they're looking like, what they're doing. And I fell in love. Like I found this one girl, her name is Maggie Ewan, and she's a shot putter. And I just like fell in love. She's a super athletic, like she's just a complete like freak of nature. And I just was like, I want to be like her. So that's when I really got serious with it. I was like, I could really do this in college. Like, let's just try it out. So I was super lucky to be very successful in high school. Like high school went really well for me. I ended up winning my state championship my senior year. And then I came 7th at nationals, and I was ranked number 3 in the nation at one point. So high school was great. Like I felt great in high school. Like things were going really well. Obviously going through COVID through 2020 was like a big downfall for track and field for me because I graduated high school in 2021. I'm 20 years old. So my junior year was when COVID hit and all that. Sorry, that's my dog back there. So COVID kind of canceled my whole junior season so that kind of took me down a little bit with recruiting and stuff like that. But college coaches kind of understood, and I basically got recruited through Instagram. I know that sounds crazy, but I made an Instagram page. Like I named it Riley Simmons Throws. And I got recruited through just posting videos like in my garage. I was like posting like lifting videos in my garage, like me just doing like throwing drills in my garage. Like it was crazy how that happened. But I say to this day, like I would not be a college thrower if it wasn't for that Instagram page. So it's kind of crazy. But so I got recruited. Things were going really well. I wasn't able to take visits because of COVID, obviously. So that was kind of hard. And like, I'm sure speaking with a lot of athletes like you have, recruiting is just a lot of lying and a lot of selling people things that they want to hear over the phone. So that was just really easy for coaches to do when athletes didn't get to go visit schools. So I ended up signing with Mississippi State University out of high school. I was so excited being in the SEC. Like they had great throwers. Like I was hyped. Like it was great. But once I got there, and I'll never speak down on any coaches or anybody, but it just was not what I needed. I came from a very disciplined background as a gymnast and in high school, and I'm used to coaches kind of being on me, like keeping me disciplined, giving me training plans, like the more the better for me. It was just very kind of like a laid back, relaxed environment that I wasn't thriving in. There was a lot of, I have very strong religious beliefs and political beliefs that I used to share a lot online until I got too torn up for it through college athletics, and I kind of stopped sharing that online. And my coach didn't agree with a lot of what I believed in. A lot of my teammates didn't agree with a lot of what I believed in. So that resulted in me kind of feeling like I was treated a certain way because of that, which kind of stunk, but like just the way it was. I got really sick while I was at Mississippi State and ended up losing like almost 30 pounds. And as a thrower, that's not good at all. You have to be very big and very strong and be able to move a lot of weight. So I wasn't really able to do that. So through kind of all of these circumstances, like I was told that like this was kind of in my head. I was trying to lose weight on purpose. Like a lot of just really messed up things were happening through this whole period of time. So I decided to end up redshirting, not wasting a year at Mississippi State, and redshirting and basically getting in the transfer portal with still 4 years. Kind of like I was just a brand new freshman again, a fresh start. So I got in the transfer portal, and I had a great experience with recruiting the second time. I ended up committing to Auburn University. I went on a visit, met the coach, met the athletes, like loved everything about it. And about 2 weeks before I was supposed to move to Auburn, I signed the lease. Like, I was set in stone. And my throws coach called me and he was like, he did not sound good at all. Like, he sounded really upset. And I was like, what's going on? And he said, we just hired a new head coach and I think he cut 5 thrower scholarships, and he's bringing in sprinters to replace these scholarships from the previous school that he came to. And I was like, like, I'm sitting in my room, like, I just transferred from somewhere. Like, there's no way this is happening. I just told all these coaches no and committed. I made a whole post about it. Like, it was public and everything. So I kind of looked at my mom and I'm like, should I even stay in track and field at this point? Like, this is my first kind of doubt of like, should I still be doing this? But then I was like, all right, you know what? That's just stupid to think. Let me not. I'm really supposed to go do big things in college off of what I did in high school. So let me just give it another try. So I called back Florida State, which was a school that recruited me out of the portal that I also loved. I'm from Florida, so I just wanted something different. That's the only reason I didn't pick Florida State over Auburn. Like, they were both neck and neck. So I called the Florida State coach and I was like, hey, does my offer still stand? And he understood everything. He was super sweet about it, but I no longer had my scholarship offer because it was already given to a jumper. So, like, there was no money on the table. But if I were to be a walk-on anywhere, it would be more doable in Florida because I'm from Florida. So in-state tuition was almost more doable for me. So I was like, you know what? This coach is one of the best in the nation. I made the sacrifice. My parents made the sacrifice just to let me go and do this for a year and hopefully earn back that scholarship next year. So I was like, okay, let's do it. So I signed with Florida State as a walk-on. I went and I was like, this is going to be worth it. I was there for like 2 weeks and I loved every bit of it. So during those 2 weeks, our coach sat us down and he was like, let's have a meeting. I'm just thinking it's like a beginning of the year meeting. Like, I'm like, everything's going great. And he was like, I just need to let y'all know. Like, he's also sounded awful again. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's he about to say? And he was like, I just took a job at the University of Kansas and I'm going to be leaving in like a week and a half. And we're all sitting there like, oh my gosh. And like, everybody, all my teammates around me were like crying, like super upset. And like, I just couldn't get myself to that point because I was so angry at this point. Like, everything has worked against me and I still haven't been able to compete. And I don't know, like, am I just making the wrong decisions? Like, I don't know what's going on, but everything was working against me. So he was like, listen, y'all just stay here. Like, we're going to bring in a good coach. It's Florida State University. Like, just hold it out. So we were coachless for almost 7 weeks, like training by ourselves, like a whole fall training block, which fall training is very important in track and field. So we're kind of just training by ourselves, like getting by, lifting, like obviously training without a coach is not ideal. So we're then told that we have this amazing guy coming in, and I heard his name. I kind of knew of him and I was excited again. I was like, all right, cool. He's got some great accolades behind his name. Like, this is going to be great. So then I reached out to our head coach. I'm like, hey, like, when's he coming? Like, when's our coach going to get here? And he was like, listen, like, he's not coming anymore. He signed with a different school. And so I was like, well, who is going to be our coach? Like, do we have anybody coming in? And so he says, we just signed a guy. Y'all will meet him in about a week. So I'm like, okay. Basically, we signed somebody from a different school. And again, I don't speak poorly on coaches or anything like that, but it was kind of the same feel I had at Mississippi State. It's very laid back, very little training programs. Every single one of my teammates hopped into the portal within like 3 weeks. And like, these were my best friends, my training partners. Whatever was going to keep me at Florida State had a lot to do with who I was training with, and they were all gone now. So like, I was really the last one to like, I'm like, can I even get in the portal at this point? Like, I've already transferred technically twice. So is this even allowed? Like, I don't want to lose eligibility. So this is kind of where my whole journey of like knowing that everything happened because of God's plan, because I went to compliance and I was like, what can I do? I need to get out of here. I need to go somewhere where I'm going to thrive. I can't give up on track yet. Like, I need to go somewhere else. And everybody thought I was crazy. I've had everybody say some crazy things about me, coaches, athletes, friends, like so many things. Like, why is this girl just hopping around? Why can't she just stay somewhere? But nobody was really in my situation. So it's like, I never let that get to me because I couldn't stay anywhere I was. So compliance was basically like, I don't think you can transfer. Like, I think you have to lose a year of eligibility. Like, maybe if you graduate, but like, I was only like just starting my sophomore year. Like, there's no way I could graduate anytime soon. So I then got an email from compliance, like maybe 2 weeks later. That was like, Riley, come back to my office. Like, I have some news for you. And I was like, okay. Basically, compliance said I was able to get into the transfer portal and sign with another school without losing eligibility, strictly because I was not on scholarship. So if they paid me even $1 at Florida State, I would not be able to transfer without losing eligibility. So,
What?
yeah. So when I heard that, like I almost had this like crazy like weight lifted off my shoulder. No matter how upset I was and how angry I was at everything, like I was like, if they were even paying me books at this point, I wouldn't be able to transfer. I wouldn't be able to get out of this situation. So the fact that I was there as a walk on, which was not an ideal situation for me, it's not what I wanted for me or my family. Because I was there as a walk on was the only reason that I was able to get out. So I took that and ran with it. I got in the portal. Basically, I talked to 3 different coaches that I trusted, like big name coaches, and I was like, listen, I'm done with the Power 5. I don't want to go to a big school. This is not happening for me anymore. I want to go to a small school where I'm prioritized, where I'm like just treated like I want to be. I want to feel like I'm a priority. I want to feel important. I want to feel like I'm given what I need to reach my goals, but I also want to be under a good coach. So like, who is it in the smaller Division 1 schools where I can still make a Division 1 nationals and reach my goals? But where's this coach at that's not just going to up and leave if he gets a better job? You know what I'm saying? So I had 3 separate people say Coach Rob at Memphis. Like, just say it. Like, Coach Rob at Memphis, that's who I can see you with. Like, he's going to discipline you. He's going to believe in you. Like, he's going to give you what you need. He's the head coach. He's the throws coach. Like, perfect. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me get in the portal. Let me wait a little bit, and I'll reach out to him the next morning. So I wake up the next morning, and I had already had a message from him, like, in my Instagram DMs, like, trying to recruit me. And I didn't even reach out to him yet. So it was like some crazy coincidence. Like, he didn't know who I was through all of this. Like, he believed my entire story, which so many coaches did not believe my story. My Mississippi State coach, like, she talked and she got a lot of coaches to turn away from me. I've had many coaches not believe anything I said through recruiting, which is fair. Like, going to this many schools as an athlete is hard to believe my story. But he was one person that didn't even ask me a question. He was like, I know everything you've been through. I know all the people that you've had to deal with. Like, I believe everything you're saying. And now I'm here and I absolutely love it. Like, I genuinely have never been a better person, better athlete. Like, I'm chasing so many different things that I want to, not just athletically, but I've gone into motivational speaking. That's like my dream, is to be a sports motivational speaker. So I'm using this story to basically travel around to different high schools and churches and tell this story and motivate and inspire other athletes. So yeah, that was very long-winded, but that's kind of my whole my whole journey.